Proximity can make or break you. The power of proximity can make or break you. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be careful with who has proximity to you. Men and women. Okay? When you value yourself and you cherish yourself, you don't do filler connections, right? You don't just jam people into your life. You're not interested. You're busy. You have a full life. You're happy. You don't have a reason to jam people into your life. For what? Like you have a lot going on. You don't need to jam anybody into your life. But the problem is people don't understand, because we were never taught. People don't understand the power that comes with your presence. How when somebody gets to know you, they get to be around you, they get to talk to you, they get to gain information about you, they get to hang out at your house with you. You don't understand the power that you're giving that person by giving them proximity to you. All of those men and women that you see online airing out people's business, they were once close to each other. I hope you know that. They were once friends with those people that they are now exploiting, by the way. But that's what proximity does, is it gives people power in regards to you because they know more about you. They've been around you. They've been around your kids. They've been around your husband. There was a video where Santana was talking, I think he was talking about JT, and he was saying, oh, well, that's why little Uzi doesn't really like you and you like him. And, you know, he was making bulldog noises and he's like, oh, he doesn't really like you. You're always chasing him. How does he know that? How does he know that about her? Because he used to hang out with them as a couple. Therefore, because he used to... If you don't resonate or align with my teachings, then my content is not for you. Avoid commenting, subscribing, or interacting. Instead, go to a page where you resonate. If you comment something foul, disrespectful, or like something foul or disrespectful, you will be blocked. I will also block you if you comment any contradictory to my message. I don't post for your agreement, so please think about that before you run and comment, I don't agree. Think about that. It doesn't matter. I post what I am led to post. Your agreement or okay was never needed. I don't need your permission. Let's get into it. Hang out with them as a couple. He knows information about their private relationship. Why? Because they gave him proximity to their relationship. You guys don't understand. I don't think you get it. What it means for somebody to be a part of your world, what it means for somebody to be a part of your life, because they see everything that's going on with you, the problems, the challenges, the tears, the issues, the calamity. They're present for all of it. Now, if you truly value yourself, not many people, you're going to realize not many people are qualified to know about you in that type of way, to know about you in that deep manner. No way. No. Proximity is everything. That is your power. Proximity is your power. And if you give proximity to you to the wrong person, they can destroy you. It's very easy to. Okay? This is why you'll notice if you want to see a woman turn blue in the face, don't let her get close to you. Women cannot handle rejection. And it's not really rejection that they can't handle. That's not really what the woman has a problem with. Women know the only way they can destroy is via information. That's the only way they can destroy. A woman's character, a woman's connections, a woman's deals is through lying and connecting. That's the only way, is they have to have something on you, right? Notice how when a woman has a problem with a woman, what does she say? Don't make me pull out my receipts. Don't make me. That's how women are. The way that they destroy is via information. And that's why they will always have a problem with you if you don't let them close, because they have no power. It's the power that they want. Proximity gives women power. Proximity gives men power. And if you don't give them proximity, they have nothing. All they have is the voices in their head trying to figure you out. All they have is the voices in their head trying to put two and two together in regards to you. That's all they have is the voices in their head. They don't have anything else. So what do they do when they don't have anything else? They start lying. They start lying. Sometimes a lot of people are not even aware when someone is trying to gain proximity to them in an unhealthy way. You can't even tell, right? You can't even tell why this person is trying to get close to you because you don't think about that. When someone's trying to get close to you, you're not thinking, why does this person want to get close to me? I wonder why. I wonder why this person keeps trying to talk to me. You don't even ask yourself that question because you're not thinking about proximity in that way. You don't value proximity. You don't honor it. So because you don't value proximity and you don't honor it, you don't understand the price of it. So because you don't understand the price of it, you don't value it and you just give it away. So for me, what I've learned up until this age is proximity is everything. And I refuse to give my proximity to anybody that I haven't thoroughly vetted and qualified as someone that I want to be a part of my world. It's just not happening. And women can't bully me into giving them proximity. It doesn't work. I don't care what you say or what you do. Proximity to me is up to me. It's my choice. It's my decision. It's my life. I live my life on my terms. So my connections are up to me. They cannot be forced. A lot of women end up in friendships and relationships because, ma'am, you got guilt tripped into giving that man access to you. He guilt tripped you and made you feel bad so that you can give him a chance to be your boyfriend. That woman bullied you and called you bougie and said that you were stuck up because she wanted you to let her in and you fell for it, right? So again, I can't be bullied into giving proximity and I can't be buttered up into it either. Some people will try to butter you up so they can get that access to you via compliments and stuff. So essentially, you have to view proximity to you as a really big deal. You have to view it as, okay, if this person is in my life, they're a part of my world now, meaning they're going to know about my relationship. They're going to know about my husband. They're going to know about my kids, right? They're going to know about my money. They're going to know where I live. Remember those people, you guys, that family member that I told you I opened my doors to them and it didn't work out and they kept calling the cops on me? How was this person able to keep calling the cops to my house? Because they knew my address. I gave them that proximity, and therefore, because the connection didn't work, they could still bother me and my family by sending the cops because they knew my address. Again, that's proximity. You know, I had this situation where a woman from one of my businesses, wanted to drop off something that I forgot to get from her. And she was like, oh, well, okay, so where are you? I could just drop it to your house. I said, it's okay. We can just, let's meet here. And I sent her a location. I'm not bringing you to my house. That is where my family lives. That's dangerous, right? So again, you always have to keep in mind that access is not the loose thing that it appears as. You know, we've normalized access so much, not understanding that if the wrong person has proximity to you, they can destroy your reputation with whatever they've gathered about you, whatever information they've gathered from being around your family, from being around your kids. That proximity, you know, when you're talking about your personal life, a lot of men, you know, you're talking to your guy friends about your girlfriend and they're secretly very jealous that you have a good woman. And they're sabotaging your connection with that woman because they know she's a good woman or they want her for themselves. I had an issue with it like this years ago when I was single on the market. Years and years ago, I was dating this guy and, you know, sometimes I would hang out in groups with his friends. And I always had a weird feeling about his friends. I'm not very trusting of people. And I always had a weird feeling about this one friend, not all of them. There's this one friend that he had that I don't know, my spirit did not sit right with him. And things didn't end up working out. And I had a feeling it was because something was said. There was a sabotage. And mind you, that same friend, his friend, tried to DM me asking me to go out on a date. Like about 2 months after me and him stopped talking, this guy DM'd me to ask me out on a date. Could you believe that? You know, you plant a seed in this guy's head about me, and men value the opinion of their friends a lot. You plant that seed, you break us apart, and now 3 months later, you're in my DMs asking me out on a date. Does he know this? And I actually wanted to take a message of that. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not with him anymore. That's not my responsibility to warn him about his friends. But just so you know, that's why after that, when I was dating guys around that time after that, I don't want to meet your friends. I don't want to meet your friends. I don't want to be around them. I'm in a relationship with you. Over time, I'll dip my foot in the pond. I'll test the temperature, but I don't really want to meet your friends because, again, that's proximity. That's proximity. And when you give proximity, now his friends are having conversations about you. It just gets really messy. And when you understand that, again, proximity to you is going to be limited. There was a woman that told me, Mel, I don't know what to do. I'm getting bullied at church. I said, okay, how are you getting bullied at a church setting? Because it is a general population setting. It's not a setting where there's much personal proximity, meaning you can come in and say, hey, how you doing? And just sit down and listen to the service and get up and leave and go home. The only way that a group of women would be able to be bullying you at your church is if they have proximity to you, meaning you're joining a group or a team or something like that. And because of that proximity, they are able to bully. See, I understand the power of proximity, which is why I don't give it. Okay, proximity is your power. People know that if they don't have face-to-face direct proximity to you, they don't have any power. Okay? Virtual proximity is not proximity. That's just you creating a parasocial relationship in your mind. That's not real. And yes, people can virtually bully, cyberbully, but that doesn't, that has no power because you're not in front of the person. You can't directly bother the person, right? You're just an online person. But in person, your proximity is your power, okay? And when you understand that, your proximity to you will be limited, right? So I told her, I said, okay, well then don't go to the groups anymore and watch the bullying stops. They're not going to have the access to you to be able to bully you. So when you stop going to the group, what's going to happen is they're going to beg you to come back because that was their only means of getting to you, is to have you directly around them. And when you guys understand the power of proximity and how you can use proximity to protect yourself, you're going to understand why people try and manipulate themselves to get into your space, right? This is why, let's say a woman has a hidden animosity towards another woman or a jealousy. What is she going to do? She's going to try to over-compliment her to see how she can get in her space, right? Because you can't really start cutting up until you're in that person's direct space. Until that happens, you don't have any power, right? So what she's going to do is over-compliment you, kiss up to you, do the whole nice girl thing until you let your guard down, you let her in your space, you guys become cool. And now she can use that proximity that she has to you to learn about your business so she can tell people about it. Neg you, humble you, be rude, be jealous, because now she has that access. When you understand the power of proximity, you're not going to give it to people. Your proximity to you is not for everyone, right? Because that's how much of a power proximity is. It's the same thing with dating. That guy or girl that is sliding in your DMs, they know they have to butter you up and over-compliment you and keep sending you heart eye emojis. They have to keep doing all of that so that they can get on a dinner table with you. That's really the only way. They don't have any power by just sending you heart eye emojis and kissy faces. They don't have any power from that. The only time they're going to get power is if they're able to sweet talk you into that first date, right? That is the power of proximity. When you understand what proximity does and what it means, you are going to understand why people have a problem with people that are hard to get close to. Both men and women don't like people that are hard to get close to, because if someone is hard to get close to, you can't do damage, because you need proximity to them to do damage, right? You need proximity to them to find out information about them. You need proximity to them to be able to bring them down verbally, to humble them. Without proximity, you can't do that. And when you understand the power of proximity, you're not going to allow many people to be in proximity to you. You're going to pick and choose, and you're going to be cautious about the spaces and the different places that you walk into, okay? That is the power of proximity, okay? That's why we see this in the community of women a lot. If a woman is a triple threat, what is a woman that's a triple threat? She's beautiful, she has brains, body, intelligence, confidence. Women will hate her because she's not friendly. They will despise her because she's not friendly. Because how am I going to insert myself into your life if you can't be friendly with me? How am I going to manipulate you into trusting me if you're not friendly? Right? That's why a woman's exclusivity, that's her protection. I posted about that on the community page. A woman's exclusivity is her protection. Me, I'm going to protect myself because I know what I represent. I know how many boxes I check off. So some people will purposefully try to align themselves with me so they can humble me. Some people will book calls to try and humble me and throw backhanded compliments. Some people will try and follow me into the bathroom so they can have an opportunity while I'm washing my hands to come out and wash their hands and say a slick comment. Okay? And when a woman is a triple threat, you're going to experience how people will fight to get in your presence just so they can have an opportunity to humble you. That's really all it's about. But when you reject them that access and you don't allow them to get in proximity to you, that's when you're going to become the most hated, because what they want to accomplish, they can't do it. That's why I made that video saying beautiful women are supposed to be in high value spaces. It's a form of protection when you go to a higher end gym. You don't have to deal with guys cursing you out and calling you a bunch of names when you're walking out of Planet Fitness because you don't want to pay attention to them. If you go to an Anatomy Fitness or a higher end gym club, you'll notice that you don't have to worry about men cursing you out or bombarding you with inappropriate commentary, because those group of people, they have more to lose. So they're not going to do things like that. So proximity is everything. That's why I tell a lot of you guys, I encourage you guys to work remote jobs, because the minute you set foot in that office, they have proximity to you. Men and women who would not typically have access to you outside of work now have that access. It's the same thing with church. People outside of those buildings at the church that typically would not be able to even talk to somebody like you, now that you're in the church, they're going to use that to their advantage. That's why even in those places, you have to practice proximity protection, where it's, hi, how are you? And you leave it at that. The minute you open up more, now you're really giving people that access that they desire. And here's another thing. You are not required to give people access to you. It's not required. Okay? This is a lie that has been taught to women. The biggest lie that has been taught to women is you owe people proximity to you. No, you don't. No, you don't. You owe people respect. That's it. Proximity is a whole other story. You get to pick and choose what man or woman gets to be in your space. It's up to you. And it's the same thing with men. Fellas, you get to pick and choose. Never feel an obligation to give somebody that proximity that they want. And it applies to family members too. You are not obligated to give anybody the proximity to you that they desire to have. And the people that have the biggest problem with proximity and who take it real personally is women. Women feel extremely entitled to other women. It's like women don't owe you anything. They don't owe you that friendship that you want. You can be attracted to that woman, but you are not allowed to bully her into her being cool with you. And that's what women do all the time, because they're very entitled, especially if that woman has something that she feels like she's lacking in, or if that woman represents something that she secretly envies, women will push themselves on you. They will completely push themselves into your space. And a lot of women, unfortunately, have lost jobs because you simply wanted to go to work and your colleagues didn't want to allow you to just come to work. I remember I had a manager one time. She told me, you know what, Mel, I'm really getting tired of you. And she was saying that she was getting tired of me because the doctor would order food. This was years ago when I was in college. The doctor would order food around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and they would sit and eat in the lunchroom because the doctor's office closed at 2:30. They would eat at 2:30 until like 4:30. But once the doctor's office closed, so did I. I would pack up my bag and grab whatever I ordered and leave because the office is over. And she told me, she said, Mel, I'm getting really tired of you. And I said, why? She said, you never want to sit and finish, and continue to hang out with us. And guess what? When they guilt tripped me into that, that's when they started getting in my business. And then when they started finding out certain things about me that triggered them and made them feel insecure, the bullying started. So people get upset at the lack of proximity to you because they cannot humble you if they don't have that proximity to you, right? They can't neg you. Notice how the guy who has an agenda of negging you, they'll be so sweet in the DMs, hard eyes, compliments. And the minute you get on a table with them, you can sense that dark energy. The energy has shifted because now it's like, yes, I've secretly been envious of her the whole time. But now that I have her on the table with me, I can drop the mask and I can use this date as an opportunity to lower her. Okay? You gave him proximity. Therefore, you gave him power. When you give people proximity to you, you give them power. Okay? And if you want to if you want to wield your power, you will wield your proximity in who you give it to. That's very, 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 very important. Your proximity is everything. Who has proximity to you? Who's able to just pick up the phone and call you? Who's able to just text you? Right? Who's able to just show up to your house? Right? Who's able to just call you whenever they want? Whoever is able to do that has some type of power because you gave your power to them by giving them your proximity. That's why when a woman decides to be more serious, more strict, have higher values, when a man or a woman is more picky, you'll notice your life is easier. Your life is smoother. There's not a lot of hoopla because in order for there to be hoopla, people have to have access to you for the hoopla to start. All those women that go online airing out women's business, how did they even get that info? Proximity. Either proximity to their target or proximity to someone who's close to their target. That's how they gather the data. That's how they gather the info. So when you understand that, proximity to you is going to be limited when you understand what that comes with. Think about the popular girl in high school that was known by everyone but friends with no one. Everybody knew her. She knew everyone, but she was friends with no one. Think about that popular guy from high school, the ball player, the football player that was focused on his scholarship. Everybody knew him, but he was friends with no one. Those are people who understood the power of proximity since they were teenagers. Maybe somebody taught them. Maybe their parents taught them. Maybe their family members or their grandparents taught them. They knew from early on what proximity does. You want to know who knows this stuff? High class people. The upper echelon group of the population, they know this. They don't give proximity. They don't talk to anybody who's not a part of their country clubs. They don't interact because they know that the minute somebody has proximity to you, they have a level of power now in regards to you because you've let them in. So when you understand this, you are going to be careful with the proximity that you give, especially as a woman. If you're a woman who's a triple threat, men are going to fight to get near you. Women are going to fight to get near you. Don't allow them to. You have to have a model, a vetting process, a blueprint that you look at before you can decide, am I going to let this person into my gates? And if you let them into your gates and you start to see weird behavior, go ahead and reject their free access pass. Free trial is over. right? Once you start to realize that, because you really do have to start carrying yourself in a way where it just takes one bad connection to ruin your reputation, just one, right? So you're going to protect your proximity. You're going to guard your proximity like your life depends on it. You have to be willing to weaponize your masculinity as a woman. Masculinity is not bad. Masculine energy is not bad. I don't know why people keep saying that. Masculine energy is the ability to reach a goal. Masculinity is what? Goal-oriented, structurally, orderly, being able to show up on time's precision, logic, rationality. Nothing about that is bad. So with the October spooky season coming around and holiday season, make sure you guys are okay being the villain. Yes, villainhood is a real thing, and that's what this class is going to talk about. We are going to speak on the characteristic traits and approaches you have to take when you are no longer living your life to be accepted and validated by people while accepting their bad behavior. Sometimes being the protector in your book looks like being a villain in another person's book. It's all a psychological mind game. If you don't choose yourself, if you don't choose your happiness, if you are not unapologetically you and winning without feeling apologetic about it, guess what? People are going to view you as a villain. But if you already walk in villainhood, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is going to be a good class, especially in conjunction with weaponizing your masculinity. You have to get comfortable with being viewed as a villain. You need a strong mental mind to accept people villainizing you because you are being and doing your best.